All right, and we are officially live on this,
Woohoo!
the 6th of August for Tech Linked, or Tech Warped, not Tech Linked. Don't get me confused with Linus Tech Tips.
Warp.
Yes,
Uh,
Tech
live
Warped,
long and prosper.
number
Live long
3.
and prosper. Yeah.
Um,
Woo! All right, we've made it to the third one.
yes, and,
My goodness, we're gonna catch up to PM and the PM in no time.
oh man.
They're shooting towards 20.
I think Two Brothers, we just had our 10th, or no, our last one was our 11th, I think. So
I've only
that was
been there
cool.
for the last like 4 or 5, but it feels like I've been there forever because I like to troll in the chat, and I think your brother loves it.
Hey,
And if he doesn't, I'm just gonna pretend he does.
chat engagement is chat engagement. I don't care. You troll away. I like it. It's good fun. I think you have frozen, Mike. You have frozen. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but you've definitely frozen, Mike. At least it's a picture of you laughing, but you're definitely frozen. Technical difficulties, friends. Technical difficulties. We will be back with y'all in a minute once Mike gets his video problems sorted out. Because he is hard frozen in Discord. Wow, I don't even have the video call option anymore in Discord. That's interesting. Let's try. Oh. There we go. Okay.
Hello?
Hello. Welcome back.
Oh my goodness. I think I kicked out the internet. Why is the cord for the internet right where your feet are to sit down?
Hey, I am a big fan. If you're gonna have cords behind a desk, put a piece of like cardboard or at least like a sheet or something up over the cords so that like you stop. Yeah.
I totally understand what you're saying, but it's not behind the desk.
Oh.
It's directly underneath the desk. Right, like if I push in the chair, it kicks the internet out. I don't understand. It's
big oof.
It's not my setup. Yeah, it's not my setup. But I apologize to everybody.
It's okay.
At first, I thought it was Jeremy trying to sabotage this, but no. Hey, everybody, I'm back. I don't even know. Is anyone in the chat or is anybody watching?
I think we have a dead stream right now. That's perfectly fine though. They can view it later.
Fine. Can view later. Anybody can skip ahead to where I am not making mistakes. So what's the topic for today? It's all about TVs.
Yeah,
right?
TVs and display technologies. So
yes, TVs and monitors, and you're the guru, and I'm the person with a lot of questions.
I don't claim to be a guru, but I know a little about a lot.
I do. I claim that you are the guru. So to catch everybody up, a while ago, I was looking for a TV. I had just moved, and I had a 32-inch, and the way it's situated, I'm now 9 feet away from where the TV would sit. So I said, I got to get a new TV. So I started looking up stuff, and I don't know enough, but I lucked into something. Now, I want to ask you if this was a good deal. Okay. Walmart had for $200 a 50-inch 4K. Now, it was their brand, ONN on, I think that's the way, yeah. It's either OON or ONN. Yeah. Now, listen, I know it's not perfect. When the screen goes dark, I can see the light bleeding up and down. And I know it's not, right, Samsung or Sony. I know it's not OLED and QLED or whatever those fancy terms are.
I'm not big on the big name brands, so you're fine.
It's good enough for me, but now that I have it, I want you to try to help me understand and hopefully help the audience understand. It doesn't have any HDR. Now, HDR, high dynamic range, what is it and why is it so much better than just standard?
So basically, when you look at an image on a TV, you see the light parts and the dark parts, and for you and me on normal TVs without HDR, it just looks kind of blended together, if you will. So what HDR is it separates that contrast, like the difference between the two. So the darks, the shadows and stuff look really, really dark compared to the really, really brights. So like when you have a scene that the camera view is inside of a building looking out into a bright courtyard or something, you'll be able to tell that you're in a very dark, shadowy room, but the second you see outside, it's just a brilliant bright light. And like,
oh, that's awesome.
And that's where you get into one of the most, I don't want to say unknown, but one of the least thought of things when people go to buy TVs and monitors, and that is the brightness of the TV, which they call how many nits the TV has.
Yeah, I heard of nits. Now, nits is like you said, the brightness capability.
Yes.
What is the scale, and what is like low, a medium, and then what's like the high quality? Like, I guess the higher nits would be the higher quality, right?
Correct. It's not one of the reverse scales, because technology does do that sometimes.
Yeah, we're not playing a golf game here. Low score wins.
Right. So, like, your on TV probably has, like, I don't know, maybe 60 nit brightness. It's really, really dim. For what it is. Whereas like my slightly more expensive what brand is it, TCL Roku TV is more in like the 150 to 250 nit range, and then if you go to something like a OLED or a QLED, you're probably looking at the 600s to 700s range, I would guess.
Wow. That's
so it gets considerably brighter. Yes. My TV that I have upstairs is a entry-level HDR TV. So, like, it's the very minimum amount that you can do HDR on, and the HDR content is not there for it. Like, if you want HDR, buy an expensive TV, or wait a few years.
Okay. So, rule of thumb, of course, you buy expensive, you get better. But the HDR, you really... If it says HDR on the box, don't just trust the HDR. Try to figure out how much nits it has.
Right.
Maybe even look at YouTube. Sometimes they'll tell you like a consumer reports on that TV itself, and at least they'll give you the basics if it's not on the box itself, or somebody at Best Buy can't help you or whatever.
Right.
Because, because I didn't know that. I thought, well, it's just a thing that they slapped on there. It says HDR, and it's all the same.
And you're not wrong wholly. It is one of those sticker labels that people just throw on stuff. Like when HD first came out, there were plenty of TVs that came out with the HD logo on them that they just paid to have the HD logo there. They weren't HD. When, back before LCDs came around and you were still looking at HD CRTs, yeah, okay. but so
like,
it does
like
get slapped on like that. Yeah.
You know? Or what was it that they said on the Sega Genesis? It said something. It said like stereo sound, or it said something that it didn't have.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember. Yeah.
It wasn't blast processing, but it did say something actually on the system where it's like, no, you don't have that.
Yeah, and I think that is actually the specific one you actually want to buy if you go to buy a Genesis, if I remember correctly.
Oh, really?
Because
yeah, I think that's the original.
Yeah, because after that the quality of them changed
off.
and they took things out. So
yeah.
So it's the more sought after version.
On it. Yeah, that is funny. Okay, so you were mentioning OLED and QLED. I've heard those before. Like, I know Sony touts some sort of OLED. I know they kind of, Sony's funny because they used to make things themselves, but nowadays, if I've heard correctly, they just get the same screen from other people and they just slap it on their name. Yeah. But what's the difference between OLED and QLED?
Well, I'm going to start with the first part before that. The companies not making their own screens thing is kind of a big deal because there's only a handful of actual screen makers in the world.
Okay.
And Samsung is the biggest. If you have a TV, wow. If you have a monitor, if you have a cell phone, there is an 85% chance it has a Samsung screen in it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all these brands, it's like, but you're using somebody else.
You're
using somebody else's part. So just imagine if the label was Samsung. Just imagine how many TVs you'd see instead of like all these different brands. It would just be all Samsung, you know? On Walmart and on Best Buy, the walls.
And see, that's how you get cheaper Walmart TVs and stuff, or cheaper off-brand TVs, because you get older display technologies from one company who's not making them anymore, but they're just trying to get rid of stock. And then you get motherboards and everything else from another company whose same story. It's cheap and you can throw it all together and make it work. And that's what a lot of like Secchi is a brand like that. Spectre is a brand like that. On is a brand like that.
Oh, I've heard of Spectre. I've heard of Spectre. I've heard of On. I haven't heard of Secchi. But yeah, there are a lot of these companies that just. I didn't realize that they were taking. I thought they were just getting shoddier parts, but if they're getting it from the big guys and then it's just old technology, hey, listen.
And I'm not saying they don't also have shoddy parts, because they also may be taking stuff that didn't quite pass Samsung's inspections or didn't quite pass Sony's inspections,
or components from somebody else to save a few pennies here there. Yeah,
exactly.
I know the game. Yeah, but I will tell you this. I used to have a 32-inch, which just wasn't going to work for me. And it was over 720. Uh-oh, it's Wild RN. It is. That's my girlfriend. Yep, it's my girlfriend. Hey, she's probably going to leave. She just leaves it on and then just walks away. So we can get the views. So
every view is helpful.
Yeah, definitely. So what happens is these lower brands. I had a 720, but it was a little bit over 720. You know how like there's a standard, like you know how 1080 is something by something and it's 1080. It was lower than 1080, but higher than 720. I was like, it was ridiculous.
It was probably something like 755 or 944 or something.
Yeah, it was a weird thing, and I'm telling you, now that I have the actual 4K, everything looks great. I mean, I know it's not. I've been to the stores, and I know the Sony, like they look perfect.
If all you want is, if you're going from like something that's 720 or even 1080, and you're just going to get 4K, you just want 4K. 100% do it the cheapest way possible. That's fine, because it's going to be your first real in-home experience with 4K, and it's going to cost you $200 or $300.
Yes, that's great, because
regardless, you're going to be blown away by it because you've never had it. So,
exactly.
if you want to spend 3-4 grand on a really expensive TV, you can go right ahead. But I'm telling you, the awe and the wonder of having 4K or HDR is going to be the same in both scenarios.
You're exactly right. And the thing is, when those $3,000 ones, these OLEDs and QLEDs and stuff, when they're not the latest technology, like 7 years from now, and I'm looking to buy
more like
thing,
2 years from now, not even.
Well,
next year and a half.
I'm not buying a new. Yeah, but I'm not buying anything for another 7 years. They'll be low enough that I buy it and I'll be blown away again because I'll be like, look at those rich, deep blacks and those bright, whites, like.
Well,
the HDR.
You won't be buying QLED or OLED in 7 years. They won't be. They won't be around.
Coming up.
There are microcrystal technologies that are coming around the corner that blow OLED and QLED out of the water.
Oh wow!
And in the next couple of years.
From what I know, OLED is like individual pixels light up, so there might be burn-in, but QLED has like regions of. Is that right? Of light, pixels of light.
So it's a little bit more complicated than that.
Well, that's why we have you, the guru, here.
Yeah, I'm just really bad at explaining things like this. So
just tell me which one's better and which one has burn-in.
Neither, because they're going to be obsolete in a year and a half. That's my answer to everything in QLED and OLED relating to them, because they're just going to be obsolete in a year and a half. So
what you're telling Wild RN is in 2 or 3 years I need to get the latest crystal technology that's better than that, right?
Well, no, but to be frank, here's the thing. The top level consumer stuff and the entry level into the enterprise space, those things in almost all technology, the stuff that are just bridging the gap between consumer and enterprise space technologies, OLED and QLED are for TVs, those things almost never become mainstream products.
Really? Huh. So it's not like Blu-ray or DVD or the original HD TVs. No. It's not mass-produced stuff. It's just niche.
It's kind of like, and this was one of the topics that you brought up. It's kind of like 3D technology in TVs and displays. It's still out there. Is it prevalent? Can you walk into 1 out of 10, 1 out of 100 houses and find a 3D TV? Hell no. But it's still out there.
Well, remember when it was supposed to be the next big thing? And I guess you're right. It's kind of like those audio files that they love their audio stuff, but it never becomes the mainstream audio. It's always just out of reach of everybody else. It's always it's always that high end thing that nobody. You got to have wood or whatever they do. So let's bridge this to the 3D. What's your thoughts on 3D? Aren't there different? There's some with goggles, some without, or I don't understand what. Okay.
Well, so you've got the simplistic 3D like you'd have in your 3DS, your Nintendo 3DS, which you don't need anything to see that, but it's very simplistic and it would not work on a TV or real display format. You've got, I have some notes because some of these words I forget. You have stereosis, which is the modern style, which is where you project one image over here and then one image over here, and then it's basically the same image. But
you're tricking the mind to.
One is tailored to your left eye, one is tailored to your right eye, and you usually use active glasses that have batteries in them, and they have liquid crystal. They're not displays or screens, but they're like a shutter system that turns the whole thing black and then clear, black and clear, black and clear, so fast that you don't even see it doing it. And what that does is it forces your brain to lock into this as a 3D dimension.
Oh my god!
Like you
That's
would in
cool.
real life. Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
There are also passive 3D TV technologies out there.
Yeah.
The pros and cons on them are the active ones generally have the active ones with the shutter glasses, as they're called. They generally have better picture quality. They're usually a lot sharper. On the flip side, with passive, it's generally a brighter image than the active is. But most people, if they're going to look at something that's looks really good, or they're going to be hypercritical about what they're watching, they're going to go for active 3D.
Okay, and that's the one where the flickers on and off, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and that's the style of
yeah.
TV that I have. I've got one.
You have one?
Yeah,
Oh, sweet.
it's not with me.
That's awesome.
It's in my trailer about 3 hours away. But yes, I have one.
No, that's fine. Yeah, you own one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was it was like a $4,000 TV when it was new, and I did not buy it, and I got it for basically nothing.
Oh, okay. Because I was like saying, wait, if you got something 4,000, maybe I could talk to my girlfriend and say, look, see, you got a 4,000 thing. I just want this. No.
Well, and the big thing is that there is a huge difference between home television 3D and theater 3D. Do not expect to watch Terminator 2 and see the Terminator grabbing at you. That's not how home 3D works.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a question. When I first saw the 3DS, I saw the image and it looked 3D inside the screen.
Yes.
And then sometimes it would look like I could touch it, like outside the screen.
Right.
Is that what you're kind of saying? Is like,
yes,
looks
so
it's crisper 3D, but it's not right in front of your face.
So like when I'm looking at you on my screen right now, I can tell that you're real and you're in a three-dimensional area of your own, but there's no depth. What 3D technology does is it makes it seem as though you could literally reach inside your TV, because it makes your TV look like it has depth. So it's the exact polar opposite of what they do in the theaters, where they have the screen come out into you, or they have leaves fall out to you, or whatever.
It's like it's like parallax scrolling, where they try to trick you with depth, or on movies they try to trick you with depth by having blur. They blur, and it's like, oh well, But it's funny when they undo it. The forefront is blurry and the background is crisp. It's like, that's weird. It's supposed to be the opposite, but sometimes they mess that up. That's funny. Now, here's a question about the theaters. When I was a kid, I saw Space Hunters with Molly Ringwald, and it was a 3D movie. Now, they had the blue
and red glasses.
Yes. And my dad remembered when in the 50s he used to go, they had the blue and red. What's that? I mean, I can kind of understand it's trying to trick you again with the right and left, but why blue and red? Like, what if you're colorblind?
Well, then it doesn't work. On the blindness side of things, in the United States, about 5 to 10% of the population suffer from stereo blindness, which that literally means nothing unless you're trying to watch something 3D. Like, that's the only thing it's applicable to, because you still got fine depth perception, everything else, but your brain cannot interpret, and your eyes cannot interpret the signals that project the 3D image.
Yeah.
So that is the thing, because I've met quite a few people actually in my past who said that they've never been able to see 3D from 3D displays and stuff.
Well, in the 3D future, I feel sorry for them. They're not going to be able to see anything. When 3D, I was told 10 years ago that 3D would be so prevalent that you'd have everything in 3D. Well, it was all because of that Avatar movie. It was Blue Smurfs. They started a movement, and I can't stand it.
Yeah.
Darn you, James Cameron. Darn you.
I think there is about 0% chance that 3D will become mainstream ever.
Wow.
I probably would have said it back then too, because there are other emerging technologies that are just.
I remember when I read an article and the person was doing like PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360 and they had 3D and they're like, I don't ever want to go back. I'm like, what? And like these games aren't that great, you know? Like what?
No, but
that's
okay,
crazy.
so video games brings in a whole different aspect to the 3D content thing, because there aren't that many. First off, they're like literally less than 50 ever made that are 3D compatible, like true 3D compatible.
Yeah.
But that being said, if you're playing a game like Gears of War or Call of Duty or something, and your screen all of a sudden has, to your vision, true depth, think how much of an impact that has on how you play the game.
Oh, it would be like the VR sets.
Yeah.
That they're, yeah.
And
that would be kind of cool.
That's the exact, what you just said is the exact reason that 3D technology is dead. VR.
VR? Yeah, VR.
Because we're gonna see movies they're gonna shift to VR.
Oh, really?
Yep. In the next 10 to 15 years, you will see VR movies that you're not playing a role in the movie, but you are moving along in VR as the movie progresses. So you're in the scenes.
You know they have to do it where you're playing a little bit of a role, like, look at you, and you turn over, we're going there, and you got to get this parachute on, you know, and then you're like looking down, and then maybe they have like stuff, you know, on your seat where you press buttons and you know it feels like tactile. I don't know. I would think that'd be really cool.
It's possible, but to start out, I'm pretty sure it would just be 3D environment. I don't know how they would handle it at theaters.
And people get sick and throw up, and you'll have buckets. They'll give you your individual bucket.
But I mean, to be honest, theaters have already been on their way out. Like, even before COVID hit, theaters have been on their way out for a very long time. And I think that if it transitions to actual VR column movies, they're going to be entertainment experiences at that point. But if the film industry transitions to that, we are going to see VR cafes. We're not going to see theaters. We're going to see VR cafes where you sit down in a cubicle type setting or stand in a cubicle type setting that's like 6x6 room, whatever, and then you stay there and you're in VR and you experience the movie in VR there or in your home.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that makes more sense because you might need a lot of, you know, like
how are you supposed to do a 360 to look at what's behind you if you're sitting in a movie theater chair?
Yeah, those chairs are like so restricted. I will say this, it's kind of sad that before COVID, that the theaters were on the way out. My son and I love going to the theaters, and we've been doing those programs, and I think that's a telltale sign when they have, like, for $18 a month you can watch unlimited amount of movies. You know that there's something wrong, because it used to be like, okay, well, $18 get you 2 movies, but now they're saying you can get hundreds, you know, 150,
as much as you can watch in a month,
as much as you want. Yeah, I mean, we could sit and watch 3 movies in a row. You know, we used to limit ourselves to the weekends and maybe once a week or something, but when COVID hit, it's like, oh my gosh. And so now they're trying to entice people back.
My problem, I have big problems with the streaming industry as a whole right now. What's going on right now? Video on demand,
Yeah.
Video, as a whole, I have a problem with it, but not because it is a thing. My problem with it is that what is happening right now was addressed in the 20s and 30s with the film industry, when all of the production companies had their own theater houses. So you would have a Paramount theater house, you would have a Universal theater house. Cool. And so you can see that that's very similar to what's going on now. You have Netflix who produces Netflix content, and you have Amazon that only produce their own content, and they don't share it. Okay, so
they don't share it.
This was legislated for the film industry decades ago that is illegal. That you have to make all content equally readily available to everybody. So if Amazon Prime wants to buy the rights to show and to stream a Netflix show, they should be able to do that at a fair, competitive rate.
Wow.
Because
that would be cool.
Because then you don't have to have 15, 20, or 30 streaming services. You can pick them not based on their content, which is stupid, but pick them based on their features. Because, to be frank, none of them are enticed to do better features right now. Because you've got Netflix, which is good if you're just into streaming.
Yeah.
You've got
quantity, yes.
Yeah.
Quantity over quality. Yep.
You've got Amazon Prime, which is good if you want to buy something. No hassle, buy something. Just, there's a movie I like. Click it, buy it, done. You've also got that with that same scheme with Google Video, whatever you want to call it. And like Disney is a strictly stream-only service. So I would choose none of these if I had a choice where I could go to a service, pick what I wanted to watch, and then have the option to have interesting features like the ability to buy or not buy content, the ability to save, download content, whatever, the ability to navigate the menus in certain ways, the ability to link it with certain accounts but not other accounts. It should be feature based instead of content based.
Yeah, I mean, I think to myself about how Disney bought Fox, and it's like, well, we kind of just bought them for the content. So we got, all the backlog of content. I think we didn't buy them for the and not to say Fox stuff is like, not good, but it's just like you didn't buy it for the quality. You just, I mean, I guess HBO has quality stuff, but like you said, they're kind of gatekeeping it on their service. Yeah. And
I mean, it's exactly like the old movie theaters used to be. But now movie theaters, there's only one reason you pick one movie theater over another, and it's not the movie, is it? It's the service. It's the seating. It's the environment. Is there something else to do there? It's a whole bunch of things, but it's not the content, because any major movie that releases is in every theater. Yeah.
That's amazing. I see you always, that's why I call you the guru. You're always telling me stuff I don't know. I don't know a lot anyway, but I didn't know any of this stuff. That's amazing. Yeah, it is funny because I was thinking about when you're listing off that stuff, I was like, well, we got the Disney because we have Samsung, so we got it for a year for free. So
do you still have TV service? Do you still pay for cable or satellite?
Well, yeah, but
so you're getting screwed.
Yeah, and then we also have Hulu, and then we also have the Amazon Prime. So it's like triple dipping almost. It's like it's I can envision a world where it's like the difference between the consoles versus Steam. Like you can get so much more on Steam, and it's like it's very like
but you don't own anything you buy on Steam.
Yeah, but
at least on the console you have the ability to actually own something.
Until they take that away too, and they say, oh well, we're going all digital. I mean,
next generation, not the coming generation, the one after.
Yeah, the one after. Yeah.
Maybe even the mid-generation gap. Maybe halfway through.
But you know what? Like, and I've said this before, and I kind of say it in tongue in cheek, but I mean, look, when we were kids, you had to buy the cartridge for Mario, and that's and you had to play it on Nintendo. You had to play it on a CRTV. There's so many ways that you can get that ROM file. I mean, I'm not saying that people should do that for current stuff, but if your old system, let's say your PlayStation 6 is all digital and you bought 100 games on there, and then the PlayStation 7 comes out and they say, well, you can't play it. It was all, like we reneged on the licensing or something. By then you'll be able to find another way, right? Right.
Because even one of my favorite eras in gaming history was the Xbox 360 era. I think it was just like going from going from PS2 to PS3 and Xbox 360, like that jump was huge for me.
It was.
It was in also a time in my life where I was very broke all the time. So I did not pay for games. I remember I still think that I've got probably 5 or 6 entirely full hard drives sitting in my trailer that are probably completely packed with Xbox 360 and PS3 games. Like,
well, yeah, I couldn't afford it either, but I couldn't even afford the system. So the first system that we bought in that generation was a 360, and then my kids, we bought it for the kids, right?
I bought them,
and
broke.
Then they bought stuff, and but I mean, when you're like, oh, I gotta buy it for the kid, you find a way. So
I know.
So, but the only game that I played that they had that I liked was the Oblivion, the Elder Scrolls. And then and I remember the first game I bought for myself, because I was kind of broke too, and this was, I mean, when we bought the 360, it was like almost the generation was over. Like that's how long, that was a long generation too. We were like 5 years into it when we bought it, or 6 years into it, of like that. It was a long generation. And the first one I bought was Alice the Madness Returns, American McGee's Alice, and so whenever that came out, like a year after that came out, that's when we got the systems or whatever. And I remember I was like, wow, like I could play it. And we had a CRT. We didn't have no HD TV. It didn't look that great, but we were still blown away. But yeah, I can sympathize with you with the broke stuff. But like I was saying, like, what I was saying is basically, if you had bought it before and they deny you access to what you bought, like you said, legally they probably say, oh, well, you're just buying the rights to this license for a certain time. So
you're buying a temporary license. Exactly.
I mean, you can't own property, right? No, that's a Futurama.
I know. The one with the vegan lion, right? Yep.
Yeah. we taught him to eat tofu. He was emaciated. Oh, I love it. Yeah. But we've gone down this rabbit hole. Let's try to bring it around to what other thoughts do you have of TVs? I mean, we've kind of gone through. Or do you have any Star Trek things you want to talk about? Because we haven't talked about that yet.
Well, I know, we may not always. I know you wanted to talk a little bit about widescreen and super wide, ultra wide.
Yeah, super wide. Yeah, what in the world is that? Why have that?
Okay, so from your gaming TV viewing experience, it's not for you. Like, for anybody. It's not for anybody. That's not its intended purpose. Its intended purpose can be for that, but it's not what it's made for. It's made more for efficiency. So when you have a curved ultra wide that goes around your desk, sorry, got to do it in reverse. When it goes around your desk, when it goes around in reverse, and it's the size of your entire desk, well, you can have a desktop here, you can have a desktop here, and a desktop here, and a desktop here, and you only need one monitor. So, like, for instance, right now, I'm using a 60-inch, just show it. I'm using a 60-inch TV for my main monitor, and it's only a 1080p panel, but as you saw, I've got Discord up over here. I've got OBS here. I've got chat here. Like, and being able to stream like that for like workflow processes, I would really, really enjoy being able to have Photoshop open over here, my video editor open over here, my After Effects open like right here, have like Facebook and YouTube on this side or whatever going on.
Yeah. Is that why people sometimes get two monitors and they kind of put them together? So it's just the same concept, only cutting out the middle, man.
Yeah. Like my second monitor. But I have no place for it on my desk right now.
My kids both have two monitors, but they're not linked or like together. There's one on one side, like they make they have these desks that make right angle, and one's on this side and then one's in front of me. So it's always weird to me. I'm like, how do you do this? And they're like, well, we put stream on here, we play a video game on here, and so we listen, we can always look over. I don't know. These kids these days, they're so much technology.
All I will say is that once you go to more than one display, you will never go back. Like right now, it is absolutely killing me that I don't have at least 2 displays right now, even with this 60-inch screen. Because all this 60-inch, this is still only a 1080p. I can still only fit so much stuff here. It is larger, granted, but it's still the same resolution. So I'm used to having one on top of whatever my main display is, and then a vertical on the right-hand side.
Oh, wow.
So, like... Jeez. So yeah, I usually have YouTube. I usually have YouTube and like YouTube chat and Facebook open in my vertical monitor, and then I've got like I'm monitoring how my computer is doing, like how much of the resources it's using on my top monitor, and then I'm gaming or whatever on my main monitor.
You're doing some Minority Report there, man, with the whole like.
Getting there.
I just like to sit back with my one monitor, and that's enough for me. Although it's funny, I've been using my big screen and my my PlayStation 4 for watching YouTube or watching Hulu and anime on Hulu. So I'm like, oh, I should probably play some games.
Like, so my favorite part about multiple monitors is like, so I will have YouTube open in one, and I'll just be listening to it. I don't necessarily have to have a second monitor for that. But what is nice is I'll be working on something, Photoshop or Android coding or something, on my main monitor, and as I'm listening to a talk show or an informative video, I'll be like, oh, that's interesting. Now I'm watching it for a couple of minutes until you get past the part I was interested about, and I can go back to this, and I don't have to change anything. Nothing has to accidentally get clicked in a weird way, you know?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of my son sometimes. He has his phone, and it's like, I don't know, what are those expensive iBuds or I don't know. He's all into AirPods. The iPhone stuff. AirPods. Yeah. So I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm listening to a guy stream a Call of Duty. Like he loves Call of Duty. Like that'll be the one game every year he'll buy, and he'll buy the season pass, which is $50, $60. So he's buying like $120, but that's all he'll play. You know what I mean? And he watches all these like matches, like, oh, there's the Chicago Huntsmen versus the Florida, I don't know, Gators. I don't know who they're, but like he's so into it that and he's always got something like that on. So he's always kind of like, it's in the background. It's pretty funny. It's funny because he'll be playing a game, you know, like the one thing is he's like, let me use your account for PlayStation, which you can't use both at the same time. So if he's on my account, I can't use it. He wanted to play Dot Hack, you know, the Dot Hack GU, and and that's an MMO. That's 3 MMOs in one, and he was playing it forever. I was like, okay, so that's why I found out this ingenious idea to hook up all my old systems. You know, like, okay, I'll play a PlayStation 3 game or a PlayStation 2 game.
I mean, that's kind of advantage you have that PC has over PlayStation is that you can, for like Steam, I know for sure, you can have multiple people logged in as long as they're not playing the same game at the same time.
Game. Okay, yeah.
So like,
the funny thing about that, is he has his own account. And he has about like, he doesn't have that many games, but he has like maybe 200 or 120, 200 games. My other son, Nick, has over 1,000 games on Steam, and I have like 300 games. So it's like we all have our
Y'all are like, crazy. I have like 30 between 6 accounts. 30 games between 6 accounts. Y'all are freaking crazy.
Listen, Humble Bundle.
Oh,
I know. Steam sales, and they're like, for $5 more, you could get 10 games bundled in here. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm never gonna play those games, but sure, it sounds like a good deal, you know. So yeah, that's, and then also there's called Green Man Gaming, which is like Steam keys for less. It's kind of like a sale thing, but it's a legitimate thing. So I buy stuff from there. And the funny thing is I don't have a graphics card that can play games, but when
if you get that 1650, you will.
Yeah, I want to get that because when Resident Evil 2 came out and also Outer Worlds, it was like 50% off or something. I'm like, I can't afford not to buy it, and I still haven't played them on there. So
I got Resident Evil 2 for free.
Oh yeah, you were saying you got it bundled with something.
AMD, and I actually just got Assassin's Creed, the newest Assassin's Creed that hasn't even launched. I've already got it for free.
Oh wow, that's awesome!
I just bought my upgrade processor for my computer a little while ago. And so it was bundled in with that for free.
Oh, that's awesome. So day one, you'll have it. Yeah, that's funny.
All I have to do is have the processor installed, and then a program will check to make sure that I have the proper hardware in order to redeem the code, because the code's only valid with the right hardware. So, like, I couldn't take this and put it in that, or I couldn't redeem the code on that computer. Yeah, I'd have to do it on mine.
I understand.
So... And like,
that's awesome.
I'll enter it today, and it will automatically download the night before it launches because it's actually a pre-order.
Oh, that's sweet. I do the actual opposite. Is like I'll buy something like, and then I'll be like, oh, I can't afford not to get that. It'll be on Steam. I haven't played it, and then I'll be like, well, it's on PlayStation 4, and I can play it on PlayStation 4, so I'll buy it again. So I do have. And then sometimes I'll buy a physical copy. Now listen to this. This will disgust you worse. I'll buy a physical copy, and
I've heard you. Okay, and then you'll buy another one because you won't open the wrapped. Yeah.
I don't want to open the wrap. Yeah. I'm tempted to buy the Tales of Vesperia. I have the wrapped up one, but it's on sale for $14. How could I not buy it? Come on. And I think I have it digitally on Steam as well, I think. So
you're falling for the trap, man. You're just falling for the trap.
I'm the whale that pays for all you minnows out there. I'm the whale. I pay for all you minnows. That's hilarious. Hey, speaking of all this, GeForce Now, why is... I understand people are upset about the system. I don't know why, but I understand publishers are upset. But why does it have such a limited thing? The promise was, if you got GeForce Now, you could play all your Steam games. Now, here's the question I have for you.
That was never going to happen.
Yeah, but here's the question I have for you. They said I can play Trails of Cold Steel 1 and Trails in the Sky 2, but they won't let me play Trails and I have all of them. So they won't let me play Trails of Cold Steel 2, even though it's the same company. Why wouldn't they be able to play it? And there's Trails in the Sky 1, 2, and 3. So I can't play 1, 3, and 2. Like, I can't play 4 of the series. Why is it only 2 of them? Like, I don't understand that.
It was probably a licensing thing.
But it's the same company.
Yeah, but here's the thing about... digital art, which is what, legally speaking, video games are classified under. The thing about digital art is the publishing company who made the video game, the one who, Sony goes and gets a license for PSN for, Valve gets a Steam license for, whatever. That publisher may not actually own all of the content in their video game. So,
I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, like
so they may have to get it cleared through the people who made the original content.
Like Tony Hawk had songs that they had to take out of it, the number 2, and even stuff like that. Like even DLC might have been done by another company or something. Or that's crazy.
Exactly.
But I will tell you. Okay, so here's another question. RPG Maker games are very simplistic. Now, the games I just mentioned, one of them is like, it's a remaster of an older game, but it's still 2 years old or something. So it's pretty... Why can't GeForce Now let me play all these RPG Maker games? I bought them all on Steam. They were on sale. I bought a bundle of them. What are you talking about?
I don't know why. But I do have a problem with one of the things you just said, that our RPG Maker games are all simple, because there's some really not simple, even graphically looking RPG Maker games.
Yeah, compared to like Shadow of the Tomb Raider, you would think that it wouldn't take as much graphical power to do those 2D games as a 3D game.
There's zero chance that is why it's not on there. There's zero chance of that.
So it's licensing. It's all licensing.
It may be indie games in general. They might not do indie games in general, because that may just be something they want to legally stay away from, because there is a lot of content. We'll call it content abuse and reuse in the indie space. And
so what you're saying is I can't skirt around getting that graphics card. I have to get it so I can play my games, because I thought, hey, I could play my 300 games. I can only play 20 of them. There's only 20 that are allowed out of all the 300 games. I'm saying, like, even Outer Worlds isn't on there, and I spent money on that. Of course, it was only half off, but all right. Well, it was only $5 a month.
I just started it. Something, but like, it's still not there yet. There is a company that Shadow's one of them, but you're not actually. You're basically, you have a computer in the cloud.
You're renting a computer in the cloud.
Yeah. But they're just not there yet. And by the time you pay for 4 months, you could have paid for that graphics card. So,
all right, well, I'll just bite the bullet and get the graphics card. It's not just that, though. Think of it this way: my computer.
You have 300 games, monetarily wise, that you can't play right now. What's $120 to $150 to make all those playable? Is it really not worth it? Let's divide it out. $2 a game. It costs you $2 a game to play these games that you already own.
I looked up on PSN on the computer side. You know how, like, if you go to PSN on PlayStation 4, they only show you 4 and 3 only shows you 3. Mm-hmm. I went on PSN on the computer, and it's like, you have 1,200 downloads. I'm like, wait, what? Now that's for the PlayStation Plus, and it's also
that includes DLCs and demos
So it's not all games, but
and on PS3, I believe that even included PS3 video, which is, I believe, now obsolete.
You're talking to a guy who got PlayStation 2 Final Fantasy X, right? Mm-hmm. I got the Vita version of Final Fantasy X, the remake. I got the PlayStation 3 version. I got the PlayStation 4 version, and I think I have the Steam version as well. So, I mean, I get a little overboard.
Oh, as a public service announcement, not even a public service announcement, just a me service announcement. If anybody who is watching this at a later date, or now, even though I know no one's watching now, if anybody's watching this at a later date, and you have an original fat PlayStation 3 60 gig model that has the flip up in the front and has the multi-SD card readers and 4 USB ports, I will buy it. Just send me an email. You can find it in my contact info on my YouTube channel. Just send me an email. I'll buy it. I don't care if it's got yellow light of death, red light of death. I don't care. I'll buy it.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. Is there anything else that you need besides that? I know you had a whole list, but you've gotten a few things checked off the list.
Besides the original Xbox, I mean, I'm looking for an original Xbox 360 Elite, the black consoles, or I would really dig having one of the Halo 3, the olive drab green ones, because but the chances of getting that are like, not gonna happen.
The chances were a lot better like a year or two ago when the actual
before COVID hit.
Well, yeah, and also in GameStop, which doesn't have anything now, they've changed everything around. They have more pop figures than video games, but they used to have a ton of that stuff in like a case, a glass case. And they had the R2D2 one, they had the olive green one, they had that light blue one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was that was Xbox One, though. I think that was the Halo a Gears or something.
Yeah, the light blue S was a Gears of War, and it was called Deep Sea Blue, and it was Gears of War exclusive.
Yep. All of that stuff, they had it behind the case. Now you go there and they have boxes
and bobbleheads.
Yeah, no, but no, seriously though, they'll have a box of a Switch, and then you ask them, they're like, "We don't have a Switch." Well, then why do you have in the display case a box? Just your display case should be empty if you don't have inventory.
Yeah, I was looking for a TV for someone right before I moved, like height of COVID, and I was in Walmart, and I was like, "I want to buy that TV. We don't have any." Oh, really? Then you should remove the box. And guess what? I know you have one. It's right there. Sell it to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah, that's crazy I still can't believe that things are so rare nowadays still. Like, things get sold out really quick. I think you and I were talking about the Switches they'll come on the shelf and then people will buy them up.
The two rarest things that I'm really looking for, if I had all the money in the world, there would be some rarer things, like one of the 10 original Xboxes, the concept original Xboxes, the ones that were actually in the Chrome X. Yeah, the Chrome X. Yeah, there were 10 of those. Awesome. So if money was no object, I'd be there. But the two rarest that I'm really looking for, three rarest that I'm really looking for in order would probably be a broken Atari 2600 Heavy Sixer. That's the six switch version, 3 on each side. Looking for one of those. Has to be a Heavy Sixer because it's the only thing, and it has to be broken because I'm going to take it apart and I'm going to take a Dremel to it. Do not contact me if you have one that works. I don't want it. I want a broken one. It's for a project for someone else's channel.
Wish I had kept mine, but that was 30 years ago, 40 years ago. So
if it's in good condition, they sell for between $300 and $600 just the console.
You have to understand, somebody, were you guys asking what's your oldest on the two brothers? What's your oldest? The reason why I didn't answer is because I had to buy and sell and rebuy. That's what I had. What Christmas was for the kids. I would sell PlayStation 2 and all the collection, and then I'd buy the GameCube and buy some stuff, and then I'd sell that. Yeah, back when you could sell things for half, not
right.
So everything I have now is gotten in the last 5-7 years, just reclaimed it all. So I know what you're trying to do. Yeah.
The next two on the list are the PS3, the 60 gig PS3 with the card reader and 4 USB ports.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is those are the ultra backward compatible models. They will play PS1, PS2, and PS3 from the disc. You cannot do that with Slims. You cannot do that with the 80 gig model or the 120 gig models. You can only do it with the 60 gig models that have the multi-card readers. I used to have 6 of them.
Oh my gosh. I wanted one so badly a long time ago, but you know what? I'm happy.
They're ungodly expensive now.
Well, here's the thing. I have a PlayStation 2 that's modded so it can play PlayStation 2s could play PlayStation 1 and 2,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So this is modded so that it could play region-free 1 and 2, and also backups if I wanted as well as original 1 and 2. So for me, I'm okay with that. And then I have the ultra slim PlayStation 3, the one that has the sliding one. And for me, I like the sliding one. I don't even like putting discs in my PS4. I don't like to put it in. I don't know if I'll ever get it out.
Right.
I just don't like that. It scares me. I wish there was a top loading PlayStation 4. That's what they should get. A top loading one. I would buy it.
The last thing for rare things that I really want is there's a slightly translucent, like ocean blue PlayStation 2 that was made in Japan that I would really, really like.
You know, they actually, I know what you're saying.
I'm not sure if it was released here or not, but
no,
I don't think it was.
Yeah, I don't think it was, because I look at those things a lot of times. I look at a lot of things from Japan, and they have some great. I like the one. Have you ever seen the Sakura one?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, I love that. It's beautiful. They say it's like, I don't know. They say it's like purple or pink, but it's kind of like, I don't know. It's just this off color that's amazing. But I will tell you this: there's a guy who sells modded PlayStation 2s, and he sells them in these new translucent cases. So apparently someone out there is making translucent cases.
Oh, you can buy the cases. Yeah. You can buy the cases.
You could just, you could swap it out. I don't know. You said it was a slightly blue one from Japan. I'll keep my eyes open for that.
I mean, it's slightly translucent. So it's one of those like cloudy translucent cases that were really big, like the N64 was, and some of the PlayStation like 2 model wars. Yep. So I just thought it would be a cool thing to have, because like I know eventually I'm going to get an N64, and that is obviously going to be a translucent model, so it would sit nicely next to the translucent PS2.
Yeah. I can't hook up any more systems, so I'm at my limit right now, unless I don't hook up my computer, but I want to. So I had to unhook it, and I have to bring it down here, because my son's the one who's going to install all this stuff. And I said, listen, price it for me, because the one you sent me, it's out of stock. And then I looked up on Amazon. It was like, I'd say $50 more than what you found for me. And he says, I could buy it for less. And so I'm like, okay. So, oh well.
PCPartPicker.com.
PC Part Picker? Okay. All right, I'll try that when I get home.
Yeah, because it'll ask you if you want to start a new build. Click Start a New Build, and then you'll be able to literally go down the whole list of exactly what you want. Just click on it, type in what you want, and it will automatically find the cheapest website that something is sold on.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. That's awesome.
It's very much so like, I don't know if you ever knew what Price Watch was back in the day.
I did, yeah.
It's very much like that, only it's automatic instead of you actually having to scroll through everything.
It's like coupons, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, I think we've come to the tail end. We could talk forever, because I could just talk your ear off about all the questions I have, but we'll save it for the next time. We'll save these other topics that are swirling in my head for the next time. So, I mean, my goodness, we ran the gamut. We talked about monitors, TVs, movie screens, technology that's out there, but it's never going to be mainstream. We've talked about PCs, parts, emulation, getting our old retro collections back. My goodness, we talked about a lot.
We did talk about a lot. It's only been an hour, too, so we're doing good.
You know what? We didn't talk once about Star Trek, which is amazing.
You said it earlier. That's talking about it. You said it.
So my son and I, before we let you go, I want to tell you the story. My son and I went to a Salvation Army, and I made the mistake of walking away when he found the books section. They had little carts. You know those? You know they're like shopping carts, but they're like for little kids or something. They're little. He filled up one with books. We thought it was going to be $30 or $40. We get to the thing, and the girl there had a Star Trek pin on. So I started talking about Star Trek to her. I said, oh, I do a podcast with somebody. We talk about Star Trek all the time. She rung us up for like $12. I said, when we were walking back to the car, I said, I think she just gave us like a discount of like over 60% because we were so nice.
That's awesome.
He was pricing them out. Yeah, he was pricing them out because they have these big things. It's like 79 cents for paperbacks and $1.20 for hardcover, something like that. So he's figuring it all out. He's got a shopping cart full of them. He had more than 30 books. So it's like, but it was awesome. $10, $11. It was great. So
Trekkies saved the world.
Yes. Listen, learn your Star Trek. It pays.
It does.
All right. Well, I guess we should sign off. We don't have a sign off, do we?
Well, I can run the intro again, and that's what I'll use for the outro for now. So
awesome.
Anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next week, maybe, or maybe the week after. We'll keep you apprised. And then if you haven't subscribed over at Mike's Oasis, do that. If you haven't subscribed to me, you don't belong here.
Definitely subscribe to BlusTech. He's up and coming. He's going to surpass me, and he's going to be in Pete's realm with 1,000 in no time.
I hope so. It depends. I've got a lot of stuff to do in the near future. Maybe I'll just take YouTube along for the journey.
Yeah, definitely. All right. See you later, everybody.
See you later, everybody. Have a good night.